want to talk a little bit about TikTok. Look, I am not a super influencer in TikTok. Like I see these folks who are, there's some darn good people on TikTok, Instagram, and all. I mean, these young folks, the younger ones, they are great in the way they can produce on TikTok. I do a whole lot on TikTok as well. But I don't have that creativity that a lot of these folks have. I'm just a straight out activist that go out there and throw stuff up. And luckily, some of it take off, some of it doesn't take off. But you have some people out there doing some good stuff. Then again, you have the philosophers and the teachers and all these great people that finally found themselves a platform whose algorithm actually worked, right? It actually worked. I have been able, by the way, I don't look at any social media platform to get my information as fact. I use the social media platforms as tools. TikTok may come up that tickles me. I go and validate whether before I talk to you guys about it, I go ahead and validate it with other independent sources to verify that the information is correct, the information is accurate. And if I find it to be that way, I start to promote that type of messaging, etc. And in doing that, I get a lot of reliable historians, a lot of reliable scientists, engineers, all these folks. I've built the algorithm has given me a reliable baseline. How do I know that? Because I still fact check it, even if it sounds real, and I don't take it at face value. I fact check it. But anyhow, but TikTok has a whole lot of crap on it as well, right? People come out there and they lie to you. They create stories and I fact check those too. But that is not something that is restricted to TikTok. It's the same thing that applies to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, chat. All these other applications. There's no difference. And by the way, is it true that maybe negative information about China doesn't show up on TikTok, given that TikTok is a ByteDance company that's a Chinese-owned company? Actually, I believe that. I believe that they are actually hiding or not really promoting messages that are negative to the China. Yes, they're doing that. And, is that something that is fatal or a bad thing? It's a thing that countries do. It's a thing that countries do. By the way, I've said negative things about China on messages, and the reality is, I guess I'm a low performer influencer on TikTok, but it still gets the same amount of visuals that I get when I talk about the United States or that I talk about Panama or Costa Rica or whatever. I have seen no difference in my content, whether I talk about China or anything else. But I do believe for large influencers, if they said something negative about China, there may be some filters in there that attenuates how far that goes. Is that a bad thing? It's a thing. It's a thing that countries do. You know who does it very well? We do. We do the same thing to protect the ideals of what we think America is, right? Whenever you think about, I'll give you some great examples. Whenever you talk about human rights and how we are so protective of human rights around the country, our news media doesn't show that we are one of the countries that most affect human rights. We're the country that incarcerates more people than any other country in the world. Human rights. We're the country that enslaved a whole lot of people. Human rights. We're a country that truly, and this is not even up for debate, truly had a genocide. We are the country that threw the people who were here originally into reservations and took their land. We are the country who goes overseas into Africa and other countries, and now the African leaders are really raising hell about it. They're attacking France. They're not attacking Fidji, but they're taking back their birthrights from these colonists that came in and took their raw materials and then sell it back to them as finished products. We do that, but we don't publicize it in that context. Our history books put a facade onto the bad things that we do. By me saying this about America, my now country, that I'm proud to be an American, doesn't make me doesn't make me a traitor. It just makes me an honest person saying these are the things that we've done. Other countries, no country is free of doing, it's clear of doing bad things to many of its people. That's just reality. I can talk about the bad things that Colombia, Panama, and all these other people have done to different people. They're indigenous. They're the slaves that they brought from Africa. I can talk about African countries that have done bad things to other African. It is just a reality. But to single out China and TikTok for propagandizing Americans, I can tell you that the biggest propaganda that has occurred in America is Trump. That Trump became president, that we got plausibility of a person who a judge said is a rapist, of a person who stole money from the citizenry by having them believe they're going to a university that wasn't really a university and had to pay $25 million in restitution, for a person who actively grabs women by their private parts, who says he does it, who throws kisses onto women by force, who was convicted. For a person like that to have plausibility to be the president again of a country after knowing all those realities. How do you think that happened? You propagandize a certain sect within your population that made that a possibility. That was a much more dangerous propaganda by all our media resources than anything TikTok could have done. In an article on common dreams, it's a long article. I've linked it to it from the politicsdoneright.com newsletter. But there's a phrase that they used in the article that said the following: America, where it is okay to ban TikTok, books, and abortions, but not okay to ban assault weapons, bombs for genocide, or student debt. Think about that statement again. It is okay to ban TikTok, books, and abortions, but not okay to ban assault weapons, bombs for genocide, and student debt. Think about that. Just hours ahead of the ceasefire taking effect in Gaza, Turner, who co-chaired Sanders' 2020 presidential campaign, also emphasized that they really banned TikTok before they banned sending weapons to Israel. If Congress actually gave a damn about our data privacy, she added, they would have passed a sweeping data privacy bill, not a bill targeting TikTok. In a Sunday email to supporters, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who also voted against the law, agreed, stressing that the answer is not just plain endless whack-a-mole with apps. We should have a real privacy legislation in the United States, she said. We should help people have greater agency over their personal information so that they're not being spied on all the time, whether it is a domestic company or a foreign company, to which, of course, big tech and their lobbies are going to fight against. So they just target an app instead of targeting the problem. Do you know that as soon as they passed the TikTok ban, many of those Congress people ran to buy, guess what? Facebook stocks. They went and they bought Facebook stocks. I mean, it's all a fraud. It's all a fraud. TikTok is no more a danger than Instagram, than Facebook, or any other app that collects data. In fact, let me go further with China. China can get, if not already has, in fact, I'm pretty sure they have, our data, and there are much better ways to get our data than open themselves up to TikTok acquiring your data. You know what's a better way to do it? They can simply go to Facebook. They can simply go to YouTube that collects the same data that TikTok collects and buy it. So what in effect this law does is say, well, capitalists, we can't allow TikTok to collect the data, but if China wants to pay millions of dollars to Facebook, or millions of dollars to YouTube, or any one of these guys, hey, you can have the people's data. You can have our data, because after all, as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said, there is no privacy laws to protect Facebook and all these guys from selling your data to China. And, China not going to go to Facebook and say, hey, sell me your data. They're going to use a whole bunch of companies all around the United States to go buy the data and then just ship it off. We are so hoodwinked as a country. They think we are so stupid that they do these things to us. So now, and I'm going to go to the callers right after this, but I want to get you to realize this now. TikTok just joined the fold. Yesterday, I think they shut down TikTok. I think actually it was Saturday night. They shut down TikTok and they put, we're shutting it down, but Donald Trump is working to help us bring it back up. And then yesterday, they brought it back up and said, because of what Donald Trump has done, TikTok is back up. So you have all these Gen Zers that, again, get all their information from all these different media forms, etc., that going to realize, wow, when Biden was president, they took TikTok away. And when Donald Trump came, we got TikTok back. But here's the kicker. Donald Trump is the one who started the avalanche of writing a law to ban TikTok. He's the one who started it. You see, a lot of folks wrote later on, Democrats got played. Democrats didn't get played. Democrats got played. The Democratic leadership didn't get played. They know exactly what they're doing. It's all the establishment. And when we realize that there's no real, in that place they call the centrist or the middle, when we realize there's no Democrat and Republican, it's just about how to best take power and maximize the profits of a few, then we're going to learn something. Then we will be able to make the change. And you know what we are here for, brothers and sisters? Just the truth. And that's what you're going to get here. Just the truth.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.